Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Okay, Teresa, I know you've seen the news this week, so I just want to make sure we get this straight. So while we're dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, the fact that our community is hit the hardest, the fact that we're dealing with the unemployment issues, and of course the fact that should we get the virus, we're the population most likely to die.
Yeah.
In the midst of trying to manage all of that and stay at home and everything and homeschooling the kids, we have another shooting of Ahmaud Arbery.
Unarmed, young, black man. Yeah.
Yet again.
Minding his business.
Yeah, jogging. Yeah. Something that you should be able to do without being fearful of your life. But as we know, our men, you're never in a place where you're comfortable, even in your own home.
Absolutely. And it's just so frustrating, Lou. In your own home, jogging, asking for help after a car accident. You know,
And but
just,
I'm telling you, and the fact that this actually happened in February, were it not for people talking about it and refusing to let it die, people agitating and folks in powerful positions coming to the forefront speaking about it, we wouldn't have heard anything about this. There would have been no charges filed, no grand jury, no investigation. It is just, it's overwhelming when you think about what we are continuing to have to deal with in our day-to-day lives. An innocent 25-year-old man.
Yeah. To me, it's just overwhelming being Black in America. I'm sorry to say.
2020.
And
2020.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I have to admit I refused to watch the video. I didn't see the video. I pulled it up to watch it. I just couldn't force myself to watch it because
I get it.
I mean, I know what happened. I didn't have to see it.
Well,
And
I get that. And you won't get any judgment from me on that because I'm like that. I forced myself to see what I could of that, but it's a very hard watch. But, I shared with you earlier that, I shared with everybody, I'm a reader. That's my thing. And, but the type of book that gets me the most are the ones that deal with our struggle, slavery, our history. And now I'm reading Colson Whitehead's book, The Underground Railroad. And that book, it talks very graphically about slavery. And when I tell you, this book is so graphic in painting the picture of the killings and the lynchings. It's, a book that would probably take me, well, in my younger years, maybe 2 or 3 days. I've been on this book for 3 weeks, simply because I can only digest a few pages at a time.
I can see that.
I have to close it. Just you can't take it. And watching the video, it's like You have to be informed. I know I want to be very knowledgeable about our history and stuff, but
Yeah.
I can't, because it changes you. You know, it almost carves intrinsically up a piece of you inside, and
Yeah.
it changes things around in terms of how you feel.
Yes, and how you see others, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't imagine, I wouldn't even venture to read that book. After the first description, I probably would have put it down.
But it's
So,
hard. It
yeah,
is very, the like I said, I read, this would take me nothing, no time, but I
absolutely.
cannot take it. I cannot take that going into my mind. And when I think about, I saw the picture of his sister, oh my, and the parents, that's somebody's child, innocently killed in such a violent manner for nothing other than hatred of his
Hate
skin color.
of his skin color, absolutely. And so, Lou, here we are back again talking about, I mean, it's the same thing. We haven't had this specific conversation, but it's all racism, right?
Yeah,
It's racism, the fact that we are disproportionately impacted by everything negative.
yeah.
It has to do with race. And
It's such a burden to bear. And I don't think people get, as we sit here and think about being moms, and all of that, and everybody, happy Mother's Day and all of that. But when you think about that, I don't know if people don't that aren't people of color, that aren't in the minority, if they quite get how difficult it is to raise a child, and to raise them where they become responsible, contributing members of society, when you're trying to ferret them through the lens of racism. That is not, you can be a bright person, you can be honest, you can be a Christian, you can be a good mom and dad, but let me tell you, that is not an easy thing to do, to raise a child where they don't become racist, where they don't grow up to hate, where they don't grow up and not be able to thrive because they're afraid of going out their own freaking front door. You
you're
try doing it and
can
see how
tell,
easy it is.
I can tell you unequivocally, no, they don't get it. If they're not exactly as the person you just defined, they don't get it. And and
That's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do when you're trying to simply get your kid to go to school and do well, and they're floundering in a class because they know that teacher is treating them unfairly, and they're young, they don't get what it is, but you get clearly what it is.
happening, absolutely.
But yet you have to parent your child in a way that this child doesn't become disrespectful to the teacher, doesn't just give up in school and just say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything because whatever I try, I'm not good at, I'm less than. Try that. Wear that freaking hat. Try it on for a day or two and see how it feels.
That's right, Lou. And let me tell you, I think, and believe it or not, this came from a white man on Facebook. I believe I agree with this guy. This is what he said. It is non-racist white people who are going to have to put these racist white people in place and
Oh,
put them there.
well,
We can't do it.
well, and see, Teresa, and let me tell you, you just spoke the truth there, sis. Let me tell you, because it's not about us being powerless or weak, but the only people that are gonna put this in check, because people hide it,
Yeah,
and so the only people that are really gonna put this in check, that are gonna make a difference, that are gonna tweak other people's consciousness to realize, well, what you just said, there's something wrong with that, are people close, people that have that relationship, that they are in some type of relationship that brings value to them so that they can check themselves. When
yeah.
people are acting out of pocket, that's who's going to do it.
Right, right.
That's the reality.
So here's the other thing, though. So in reading these stories, I just thought to myself, well, nobody's talking about the person who videotaped this thing. Why didn't he or she call an ambulance?
Well,
This guy,
and you know
might
what?
have- this guy might have survived.
Well, and Teresa, let me tell you,
Let me,
I get what you're saying, and I know people are upset. I get it, but the other piece of that I'm struggling with is, please, people. I get what you're saying. Yeah, Teresa, I get what you're saying. But until these people started filming it, we don't want people not to film. Hell, we didn't know anything that was happening. It was happening.
hold it,
We didn't even
hold
have
it, Lou. In this case specifically, here's where I'm going. And I can tell by your reaction, you don't know what I'm about to say.
Okay.
How about the man who filmed it? Filmed it as evidence that evidence against the Aubrey
Okay.
and for the shooters. He felt that that video would vindicate them.
Okay, okay. I hear what you're saying, Teresa, and you're right. I missed that piece of, but the flip side of that is there's a video. Okay?
Yeah,
However we got it. Okay? His
yeah, I get that. You're right.
intentions
Thank God.
may not have been the best intentions, but we got freaking evidence, which we need. And so I want people to film. There have been too many people dying when
I'm
we
not
didn't have
saying not
anything.
to film, Lou. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying the point I'm trying to make here with this instance only.
I
Is
get it.
how the heck can this person look at this video and not see that those guys were wrong?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree
And
with that.
then going back to the fact that these non-racist white people have got to check these racist white people.
I agree. I agree, and you're absolutely right. And what I'm saying is, and please, people, don't miss what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's wrong or that he was wrong his intentions or an ambulance shouldn't have been called. No, what I'm saying is we need these cameras rolling.
We need them.
We need because we need to see. People need to, because just like I don't want to read this book, just like people say, I don't want to see it, but until we have it, and we have irrefutable proof of people's actions, it's going to continue. It's continuing anyway, but it's only because,
You just said the magic point. It is going to continue anyway.
yeah,
However, Lou, I believe, I mean, this has been like a light bulb moment, aha moment for me. I'm going to say it again. Non-racist white people, please check your racist white counterparts. You got to check them.
don't
You know
laugh at the
wrong.
jokes. Don't think it's funny. Don't allow things to be said and done, and you sit there
And
complaining.
you are just as guilty. If you sit there and listen to your racist white friends, you're just as bad as they are.
Yeah.
Don't tolerate it.
Well,
And I mean, how many more times are we gonna have these
somebody
conversations?
somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's friend, you know, just going outside. And let me tell you the other piece I'm tired of. I am so tired of people then turning it on. Well, he was picked up for shoplifting.
Oh
He
gosh.
carried a
We
gun.
have to
Who
fix
gives a shit? Because
in high
it's
school.
going to be broadcast, I'm going to stop myself. I'm not going to say what I want to say. But who really? I mean, seriously? So you then turn it on the victim. He's dead. He was jogging. Let's deal with that.
Lou, not only that, he's 25, just turned 26. That happened when when he was in high school. A
Well,
teenager in high school.
but
Has nothing to do with it.
that's always the case. Then you turn it on the victim to deflect from these two monsters. Okay.
And here's what I blame the media for that. They should have never reported it.
Well, they're going to do that because anything that sensationalizes a story, that's what happens. But we're not going to be fooled by it. You're not going to have us then distract us from that little minutia, that little, no, we're not going there. Our focus is going to stay on Ahmaud Arbery and what happened to him in February while he was jogging. That's what we're going to stay focused on. And I'm going to tell you something else. When you talked about earlier about people checking each other, people that know these folks, what kind of folks are these that you have a father and a son? I mean,
Both.
really. So you mean to tell me somebody didn't know these people and they've allowed this type of behavior? That didn't just happen. There was something done before that gave people in close proximity in the relationship to who these people are. So this is what I think you mean, certainly what I mean when we talk about we need to check ourselves, check who's in our circle, because that didn't happen overnight. I refuse to believe that.
I refuse to believe it too. And I didn't get the full story because I truly didn't want to research those animals. But somehow the father was either a retired law
Yeah,
enforcement.
yeah, he was. He was. Yeah, he was. And
Think
that makes
about
me wonder, but I know, right? I know where you're going with that. I'm thinking to myself, oh, wait a minute. He was a police officer in Georgia. What about the cases that he was involved in?
exactly.
I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. And
That's what
yet again, we're at a disadvantage because we've talked about previously, our men being incarcerated and all. So that, I'm going to tell you, it is just,
and one other demographic I heard, I think they said, and don't quote me on this one because I didn't get a chance to verify, but there are quite a few Black people in this town. I want to say they're still the minority, but the percentage is kind of high. But
mm,
there's not one Black person in leadership in that town.
oh, yeah.
That's a fact. I heard that. That's a fact.
Wow.
And we got to vote. I mean, it goes back to that. I mean, because we need people in leadership wherever we are and wherever we live. We
Yeah.
need people who look like us
Yeah.
in those positions of power.
Right. Well, that's really what we wanted to talk about this week. And there's no way we could not um, talk about it because we don't want you to get distracted. We want you to remember that Ahmaud Arbery, 25 years old, was killed while he was out for a jog. We don't want you to get distracted by people throwing in what he might have done. Any of that. Stay focused. What happened? In February, Ahmaud Arbery, 25 years old, was out jogging and was shot and killed. This on that. So thank you for joining us because as hard as it is to keep our eyes open, as hard as it is to see hard things that happen, evil things that happen, here at Earrings Off,
When we know better, we do better.
take good care.